What we see here is two catalogs of Hans-Peter Feldmann.
Yes,
there are about 20 years in between.
I guess even more, because this, I guess, is it in the late 90s, 97? Yeah, 97. So it's like
that's a
actually
catalog.
16 years ago. So 15 years, 16 years. And it was, it's called ein Energieunternehmen. So it's about EVN, which is production of electricity in Austria, in Lower Austria actually. And so Peter Feldmann puts here together photographs of the different aspects of how energy is then gained through water, for instance, portraying the persons in charge and giving therefore a kind of visual essay, but also on the disposition of the photographs you can quite easily see that there is a concept of ratio and showing the people as well in the spare time, free time, and at work, then more landscape. So actually through here you have like industrial photography as well as portrait photography, as well as street photography in some way, as well as landscape or nature photography. So actually here comes together a whole part, and it's more or less it obviously seems to be photographed in medium format, so like with a high density of gray shades. And so given actually the water, which is, so there's a different, it's kind of a typology of how electricity can be gained from this energy, and how the electricity then visually, because of course electricity is something which is not quite perceptible, so you have only other symbols for it. And it's quite interesting to know that, for instance, Man Ray himself in the 2030s was asked by a French Société d'Électricité to produce a photo book on electricity. So he did it with photographs, so it's a completely different way, but it's also kind of trying how to figure out how something abstract, which is of course next to oil, the main source of energy that we use every day. And so portraying actually the surrounding around it and how it interferes in our, because normally when you look at a photo like this you would hardly be concentrating on the electric wires, but since it is in this book, you can see
it's a beautiful cover.
It's actually now in the focus of your mind, so it's of course a kind of filter, and so to say. So this actually is of course nice. An artist book of Hans-Peter Feldmann.
Yeah.
And
this is a publication which has been recently published also for an exhibition in the Babak.
Babak Contemporary, yes, indeed, in Vienna. So this was just this summer, and this is a catalog. So quite different, but still in the same aspect as Valley Export. We have here a catalog of Hans-Peter Feldmann of his work. So it's also kind of retrospective, but once again, he's not just like putting things together, but making a whole new book, which is of course one of his main artist mediums.
Yeah.
Right.
But he also called the book Catalog.
Yes, that's the title of the book.
Yeah.
And so he starts with a quotation by Conrad Bayer, and then starts in like in a children's book, and then we're like already lifted up, so to say. And then giving us different aspects of his archive, of his photo books that he did in the 60s, as you can clearly see it here. But then again, coming with his pictures, 11 Bilder, where it's of course about time, like the tide going up, going down, and it's always the same, actually the same view or the same frame of fragmentation. So of course,
11 Bilder was done in 1970s.
70s, yeah.
I like that one.
The installation views of that time, these were his so-called Sonntagsbilder, where it was like everyday nice, like little kittens and sunsets and posters that people would probably in the 70s and 80s put in their home to feel comfortable. And his early multi-part catalogue of Bilder. But he also showed parts of his own collection, so what he himself would collect and the way he would collect it, and new works like these ones. But actually, it was also when I was in the exhibition, there was like no dating, so he refused in some way to build a chronology. So even though we know that these were done in the last years, in 10, 20 years, it wouldn't be that easy to recognize, or just by having the catalog, it wouldn't not be easy. So we have always these double sides with this, and then of course it's about how we see the historic images through his lens, and then the alienation of different images next to this, for instance, was an interview that he did just by getting for Avalanche magazine in 1974, and he's like asked, what was your early life like, and then he just answers with a photograph. So this is all this. This was a very nice one as well. It's quite of huge size, and it was mounted on the wall, so it was not framed like it looks here, but it was mounted in a way that there was some space between the wall and the frame, the wall and the photograph, and of course it is just like cut out, and you just can perceive the shadow which is swinging down. So this is like the most recent publication by Hans-Peter Feldmann.